This video contains spoilers for Jackass Forever. If you even care about spoilers for Jackass Forever. The Odd Couple, Some Like It Hot, Blazing Saddles, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. These are some of the best comedies of all time. Jackass the Movie, Jackass number 2, Jackass 3D, Jackass Forever. These are not the best movies of all time. In fact, I would go so far as to say they are some of the worst movies ever made. But god damn it, do I have such a fun time with it. I went and saw Jackass Forever last night, and it was unlike any theater-going experience I've ever seen before, because from the very moment it started to the very moment it finished, we didn't stop laughing. It was a full house, and nobody stopped laughing, like from the start of the movie to the end. You know, at the beginning of the movie where they have that, warning, don't try these stunts at home, and then the skull and crutches come up? Yeah, that got a huge round of applause at the beginning and at the end of the movie, which was just so fucking awesome. So, before I actually get into the meat, like what I thought of the movie, let me just tell you what I think of Jackass as a whole. I never grew up with it, I never watched the movies, and I only discovered it about a year and a half ago. Nick showed it to me. I just saw some clips on YouTube and stuff. I really thought it was funny, but whenever I tried to watch the show or the movies in full, I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it's because they were just like kind of old, I guess. The third one, up until this point, was really the only one that felt modern at all. The other ones just, like, the camera quality was so bad on those old ones and on the MTV show, which is kind of understandable for the show, but like, for a big budget production involved Paramount, like it doesn't make sense why the cameras were so bad. But in the third one, and especially in the fourth one, the cameras were really good, and they were able to catch all the pain and suffering of every single stunt. These stunts and these pranks are so raw and so painful. You can feel the pain. If you are a guy, and I'm assuming you are, if you go to see Jackass, I mean, there were some women in the theater, but it was about 90% guys. And funny enough, probably 90% of those guys were white guys. So that definitely shows you their target audience. But anyway, if you are a guy and you see this movie, I guarantee you that through a lot of it, you're going to be wincing. Because most guys have had the misfortune of being kicked in the nuts. And they are fucking ruthless in this. I mean, there's one of the challenges or stunts or whatever is I don't remember his name. It's one of the OG ones. I'm gonna get to the characters in a little bit, but I think it was Austin. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. There are a lot of people in this movie. Anyway, essentially, all these famous sports stars and like Olympians and stuff are being tasked with throwing things at his nuts and punching his nuts and things like that. And it is disturbing. But at the same time, you cannot help but laugh at it. It's the pain of seeing it happen to someone else that you would never want to happen to you. If that makes sense. But the last one, the last one they do in that bit is a pogo stick. And they jump onto his nuts. And his nutsack starts to bleed. and it looked... you can feel the pain. Like... If you've ever even been hit in the nuts not too hard, like that shit hurts for a week at best. And they were throwing like real pitches and like real hard punches. Like the number one fastest punch in the world, they brought that guy in and he punched him in the nuts. And then there was another scene where Preston Lacey, I remember him because he's one of the fat ones. But they made this little mini diorama of a boxing arena, and his balls were a speed bag. And then they had like these electronic arms that went back and forth on his balls like really fast. And you can just see the raw emotion and pain on his face. And it makes you feel bad for laughing, but at the same time, you can't help it. It's a phenomenon. Like, really. It... it... I feel like such a jackass laughing at them, but I mean, it is called Jackass, so... The beginning of this movie, if you were skeptical about this, because if you watch the trailers, you're like, okay, that doesn't look that bad. It looks like normal Jackass fare. And if you've seen the other three movies, specifically their credit scenes, the credits in the other three movies are pretty tame. In the first one, you know, you have the iconic, they're all riding down the street in a shopping cart, right? In the second one, they're in the running of the bulls. In the third one, they're standing around the Dick House logo and having a whole bunch of stunts performed on them, like they're falling through the roof and such. It's pretty simple, you know, in all those. In this one, with the recent boom in the last 10 years, since it has been 10 years since the last one came out, there's been, you know, such a big boom of these huge blockbusters coming back, especially like monster movies. You know, the Godzilla series came out and is still coming out. So what's interesting here is that they decided, instead of like doing their normal thing, I mean, it is kind of their normal thing. They do the stunts and stuff, but they decide to do it in a monster movie setting. And if you get to this part, which, mind you, is about a minute and a half to 2 minutes into the movie, and you see their monster, you are going to know whether or not this is a movie for you. They paint one of the guy's dick green and have like a huge tail coming off of it. And they have little wires with like little cardboard hands. And the balls are its feet. And he's stuck against the street. It... Oh my god, it is so fucking funny. And that got a huge kick out of my theater. I went and saw it with Doug. I don't usually see Doug laugh at much, but he was laughing through a majority of the movie, and he really laughed at that scene. That shit was funny. I guess I don't really want to talk about too many of the stunts. There are a couple of points I definitely wanted to make. First thing was, the way this movie is edited and shot makes it more real than any other movie I've seen. Because, with the exception of Bad Grandpa, when these guys try to put, like, stories into these types of movies where it's, you know, a Jackass movie is essentially 100% stunts. But then you look at something like Action Point, then it's like 80% stunts, 20% story. And the Jackass movies work when it's 0% story, 100% stunts. So that's, I think, where the story-based movies really fall flat, except for Bad Grandpa, only because that one just felt more like a Jackass movie than Action Points or some of the other ones that they've done kind of like that. That's kind of my whole thing with that. And they really did not have any story here. The only kind of connecting thread was that it's been 20 years since their first movie, and a few years longer than that since they did the show. So there's kind of that, like, nostalgic feeling from all of them, all the OG cast members, and that's really the only connecting thread, because this one definitely had a feeling of finality to it, but it also had a feeling of passing the torch, because in this one there were a lot of new faces. Sorry, I'm scratching my ears so much. But there were a lot of new faces. And some of the ones that really stuck out to me were the guy named Zach. He was especially funny. There was a guy that they called Poopies, and he was very funny as well, especially in the electric tap dance scene. That was hilarious. And then there was also a girl named Rachel, and then I can't really remember the other. I think there was one more new guy in there, but yeah, those were the three that really stuck out to me. And I think that if they were to, take the torch with new people, that would be a really good idea. Because I think they could carry the series on its own. But that does bring up another question, which was going to be my next point. What are you going to do without Knoxville and Steve-O and Wee Man and Lacey and Dave England and all the original members? I mean, they already got rid of Bam Margera, and because he was being like a whiny little bitch and being drunk and all that. And honestly, I don't think the movie really suffered without him. Like, I noticed he was not there, but it wasn't like, oh my god, we're missing so much funny shit. Like, they all do the same stuff. It's same shit, different day, essentially. But speaking of people who were gone, they had a nice little message at the end. Ryan done forever, since he passed on several years ago, and that was really sweet. But yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, after seeing some of the stunts in this movie that Knoxville went through, I don't know how far he can go after that. Like, he did show some wild, crazy shit, especially during the bullfight scene. That was, wow. That's something you gotta see to believe. Because for a minute there, like, that they're going to be okay because they wouldn't show one of them dying on camera, right? But a few times, after a stunt happens and they're just lying there, it's like, holy shit, are they okay? And you really get that emotional connect. I kind of think of it like watching Hell's Kitchen. On a normal day, I would not give a shit about those people. But because they're being total drama queens on reality television, I'm going to be like, oh. And then at the end of the season, when, people are starting to go away and, like, people are getting close to winning, it's like, oh shit, I hope this guy wins. I hope this guy goes. Like that kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. But it's a little bit different because these guys, they've been doing the same shit for almost 25 years. So they definitely know what they're doing. But at the same time, it's like, you guys are fucking insane. Who does this for fun? It's like me going on a marathon for fun. That just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Mostly because I'm a fat fuck. Yeah, I don't see any way in hell that these guys could come back past a fifth movie. Like, I think they could do it one more time, especially Knoxville and Steve-O. Steve-O looked really good in this movie, and so did Knoxville. I think the other ones could probably be there. Like, maybe do one or two stunts, and then just sort of sit behind the camera with Jeff Tremaine, because he's still directing all these. He's been directing them since the show. So there's definitely that bond there. Have the younger people do it. They had a lot of celebrity cameos in this, and that was kind of cool. One of the best of them was Machine Gun Kelly. That was really funny. So yeah, like, I think that, Knoxville and Steve-O could probably do like 4 or 5 stunts, because they did a lot of stunts in this movie. And then, like, the rest of them, maybe 2 or 3, and then have the rest of the people go on. But if they wanted to continue to a 6th movie, no. I think Knoxville could probably do like 1 or 2 at that point, but I definitely think he would be better behind the camera at that point. Which sucks, because I know how much he loves, doing those stunts. But at the same time, he's kind of the host. He's been the host forever on Jackass. And, like, it kind of makes sense for the host to take a back seat at some point, just because they are the host. So it'll be interesting to see how that does. I suppose a lot of it has to do with box office revenue and such. I don't even know why this one got made 10 years later. I guess maybe there was fan demand for it, but like, I don't know. I never really saw it around. So like, in my mind, there wasn't really a market for it, but I'm really glad it did come out because it definitely changed the landscape of the movies we've been getting the last couple of years. And I think that if this does well, we could get a lot more just straight up comedies, which I would really like to see more just straight up comedies than there have been, which would be really great. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about with this movie is the ending, because I think that they didn't stick the landing 100%. They had this really great stunt where they're on the centrifuge, and they're all drinking milk, and the objective was not to throw up at all. And then they had this like really big finale where the military came in. They were shooting paintballs at them, and like some fire jets came down, and they were like shooting cannonballs at them and stuff. And it was really funny. And then it just sort of ended there. I think it should have ended kind of like Jackass 3 ended, where it was, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and I'm about to end this movie. That was the finale of Jackass 3. So I think it would have worked better as an ending if they did something like that instead of just ending it like that. But as it stands right now, it's a good ending. It's fine. It's serviceable. I just think it could have been a little bit better because, it definitely had that feeling of finality, so I think they should have done something to staple it as a final project for them, if this is indeed the final project, which, honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised, but if the box office, shows anything, who knows? I mean, it was a full house last night, and it was opening night, but I think people are just so desperate to laugh at this point that they will see any comedy that comes out. So that is my review of Jackass Forever. If you want to go see this movie and you don't like feel comfortable going to a movie theater, don't risk your life for it because it's not a good movie. But if you do feel comfortable going to the movies and you want to have a good fucking time at a bad movie, then go see this. It's definitely worth the $8, even though, you're probably not going to get any intelligent content out of it. So yeah, on a scale of being a like really good movie, I give this a 3 out of 10, but on a scale of this being one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen, I would say it's like right up there at a number 9, which is right about where Groundhog Day and Spaceballs. That's kind of around where it's hovering for me. Like it definitely wouldn't go below an 8 on that scale, but on the basis of being a actual good movie, no. So it's kind of a mixed review, but I definitely enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you later. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.